Hey everyone, it's Luke here from LT Gaming and welcome back to the channel. If you grew up rerouting power on a battered starship, barking orders to your bridge crew and trying not to melt the reactor while a destroyer knifes across your bow, this one's for you. Starship Command Orion Spur wants you to scratch that bridge commander itch properly. You in the chair of a capital ship issuing orders or taking the helm yourself when things get hairy. That phrase I've been waiting to say for years? Yeah, finally, a Starship Command game. It's set in Daniel Gibbs' Terran Diaspora universe with a playable demo and Kickstarter targeted for the near future. I contacted and spoke to Daniel Gibbs in his Discord and got speaking to him privately, and he was a really interesting guy. He shared all his novels, and I'll leave a link to those in the description, which set the backdrop to the whole universe, and just a really interesting chat about his team, their determination to deliver the project, and the overall scope and ambitions. For anyone who might be interested, I'll leave a link to the novels in the description below so you can check out the lore of the universe. And if you like channels that discover amazing games like this at such an early stage, maybe consider going down below and hitting like, we'd really appreciate it. Daniel was also very keen in our discussion to get across that the footage of engagement times is currently very short, but that won't be as arcadey in the final release. They're just doing that for testing reasons at the moment. In this game, you're the captain of the Ajax-class destroyer CSV Leonidas. It has neutron beam emitters up front, twin-barrel magnetic cannon turrets, vertical launch missiles, and an automated point defense web under heavy shields and armor. It all sounds pretty robust. Day to day, you sit in the chair, issue orders to bridge officers and watch them execute, or seamlessly switch to direct control for precision maneuvering and power juggling. Between sorties, you'll walk the ship, talk to your crew, and deal with the cost of war as the Coalition Defense Forces face a mysterious enemy in the Orion Spur. The pitch with this game is authentic starship warfare, but with a narrative backbone and a crew you start to care about. Two big promises stand out. First, the command model, not just point and click fleet tactics, but captaincy, delegation timing, and choosing when it's time for you to take control. Second, systems depth, power distribution, heat management, and tactical positioning aren't fluff here, they're the heartbeat of survival. This really reminds me of the power management system we had in Bridge Commander. The recent dev deep dive shows the ship dancing under fire while the player rides the power curves between shields, guns, and engines, exactly the tension a capital ship game needs. So what's new with this title and its development? I'm going to take a look at some of the recent devlogs, and you can check these out on the website. I'll leave a link in the description below. Under the hood, the AI just got a serious refit. Enemies aren't cruising straight into your guns anymore, they're redistributing power like real captains, weighing your threat and probing for weaknesses. That shift alone will turn encounters from target practice into duels. Push too hard on weapons and they'll punish your exposed flanks, burn engines too long and they'll seize the window to crack your shields. Speaking of shields, the visual language of combat has got a lot clearer now. Shield meshes are literally hugging the hull, so you can see the angles you're bleeding at and react like a proper captain. You'll be able to roll to spread damage, spike power to the forward arcs, or disengage before the armor peels. It's the kind of feedback loop you need when every decision costs heat, energy, and maybe a few scorch marks on your lovely ship. Weapons also got some attention, with magnetic cannons now able to handle distinct ammo types. EMP to scramble systems, AP to punch through armor, and HE when you need something to just stop existing. These changes mean that every volley turns into a tactical choice. Do you blind their sensors before a missile strike, or go AP to crack plates where your beams chew through? It's the dance between setup and payoff that makes every capital ship combat sing. On the presentation side, the bridge crew has been overhauled. Uniform details, ranks, and insignia have been tightened up, character models reworked, and the team is rolling into voice capture. I am very much available if you need me. Yeah, that was Luke trying to do his deepest, most sexiest voice, but maybe I'll just give it a miss. But the voice acting and all these extras? That means chatter on the net, status calls that actually matter, and a bridge that feels like a living space instead of a silent set. That immersion is absolutely vital in this type of game. Combine all this with ongoing bug sweeps and optimizations, and the upcoming demo is building towards something that's not just playable, but properly captainable. Just a quick interlude to say most of you who watch the channel are not subscribed, so make sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button, because it helps smaller channels like us grow really quickly, and both me and Tom really appreciate it. Look, as always with these projects and previews, it's very early. The team's doing smart groundwork, tooling, AI, visuals, but the hard part is getting the feel right. Making bridge orders snappy and readable while direct control stays responsive all without UI friction is going to be a challenge. Performance and the UI in huge scale battles will be a test too, especially now that ammo types and fleet coordination are entering the mix. And like any game that goes through a crowdfunding element, scope control matters. That captain on the bridge fantasy can sprawl if you let it. And I always find in game development and sometimes in discords, the loudest voices are not always the most sensible ones. You've got to have a vision and scope in mind and try and execute along those lines. And just in case you didn't pick it up, the Kickstarter is due to launch soon, so keep an eye on it. The most obvious touchstone for this title is Star Trek Bridge Commander. The chair, the stations, the pressure of command. Orion Spur aims for that same drama but with a modern twist. You're not just pointing and pausing, you can jump to direct helm when the firing solution demands finesse, then slide back into captaincy to manage the broader picture. It seems nostalgic in the right ways, but it isn't chained to the past. Starfleet Command fans will feel the tactical heartbeat here also. The vector math, the weapon arcs, the power play, but that series kept you at arm's length from a living bridge. Orion Spur is flipping the emphasis, captain first, tactician second. You'll still be making the smart calls, but you'll also know the people carrying them out, and that changes how those calls land. If you've dabbled in Artemis, Pulsar or Void Crew, you've also tasted co-op bridge chaos. Star Trek Bridge Crew also jumps to mind, the VR implementation of Bridge Commander, which was kinda so-so and just didn't have a massive player base. This game, however, is aiming squarely at that single-player captain fantasy. The responsibility, the ritual, the rapport with officers who learn your style. It's less about 5 friends shouting over each other, more about one commander setting the tempo and the team executing like a well-drilled watch. And these days, although I do enjoy some MMOs and stuff like that, I do like to switch off and have some immersion in a single-player experience. I can't get enough of them. And for the hardcore, Nebula's Fleet Command remains a good comparison as a benchmark for sensor-smart, vector-perfect fleet action. Though Orion Spur narrows the lens here, you're more focused on commanding from your bridge and trying to control a fleet. The big tease moving forward is Friendly Fleet Command, the idea that when the moment calls for it, your destroyer becomes the anchor for a broader engagement. If they can layer that on top of a deeply immersive captain's loop, walking the corridors between sorties, hearing your navigator's nerves in the headset, sitting in the chair as the red lights wash the bridge, and we're not just pushing ships around a map. We're living the modern starship fantasy we've been missing, the ritual of coming to combat stations, the thrum of the reactor when you dump power to the beam emitters, the hush right before you give the orders that decide whether your crew makes it home. This is the type of immersion I've always hunted for in gaming. And sadly, that's the experience so many space games dodge, and the one this project is clearly chasing. From the weapons spec sheet to the bridge workflow, Starship Command Orion Spur looks like a love letter to everyone who ever whispered, divert power to shields at 2 AM. It's early days, but the intent is crystal clear. You, a destroyer, a crew that trusts you, and a war that doesn't care. We'll be watching the demo and Kickstarter progress closely, because if they stick the landing, this could be the captain's chair game we've been waiting for. I've been Luke from LT Gaming, and I'll catch you on the next one.